In August 2019, the Special Mining Lease for Porgera Mine with the operator Barrick New Guinea Limited expired. 2 years before that, Barrick New Guinea Limited had applied for an extension of the SML for another 20 years.
And we never once got warned or suggested we wouldn't renew the mining lease. As I pointed out, we jointly with government approached the courts to recognize our right to continue to operate. And so, when you go through that, nearly 9 months later, to suddenly wake up one morning and decide that everyone's got to leave.
In February this year, the Mining Advisory Committee recommending to NEC that the extension be cancelled.
Some of those fundamental or foundational conditions in the mining development contract were left unfulfilled, especially in as far as agreements with provincial government, agreement with landowners, and agreement with our national government on behalf of the country. For instance, and from my top of my head, resettlement issue, as I did mention in Parliament today, resettlement of landowners from the affected area, and many of the ongoing issues like the environmental issues.
This week, the court dismissing the court proceeding filed by Barrick on the cancellation of the extension and found that Barrick had abused court process. Deputy Justice Ambang Kandakasi stating that the Mineral Resource Enga had not been consulted as a shareholder before Barrick New Guinea Limited had applied for the SML. Barrick, in a media statement, said they would continue to challenge the decision in court, stating that the dismissal process was not based on the substantive grounds advanced by BNL in its application for judicial review. In Parliament this week, Prime Minister James Marape coming under fire after announcing the handing over of the SML to Kumo Minerals Holding Limited.
When will the landowners be consulted? My fourth question. As Barrick fulfill all the obligation in the last contract?
Member of Yellow Pange, let me talk, come up long. Newspaper Teteos and let me form him Kumul Mineral Holdings Limited. Let me talk, let me clear to Mas long. State law, Kumul Holdings Limited, also one black company, no got capacity.
Kumul Minerals Holdings is technically not as the financial capacity to undertake a operation like Porgera because of past investments in Tolukuma, in Nautilus mining, which has drained out most of the financial capacity of that particular institution.
Was KMHL ever issued the environmental permit prior to the issuance of the Special Mining Lease? If not, then the Deputy Speaker, I am seen as taking a shortcut from Tari to Porgera and not following the real road.
Very soon, by announcing full board of Kumul Mineral Holdings. Now, very soon, by subsidiary blow display, Enga provincial government landowners na Kumul Mineral Basinaun, and we will engage with all Papa grounds.
But while all of the signing ceremony and court proceedings played out in Port Moresby, behind the scene, divided landowner groups started surfacing.
Mi Mr. Lo Ground, minu yun na looking melo Mosby, yun na mi looking melo one plap. Mr. Lo Porgera, na mi place mi kulapi, na mi bosi mouse road. Excess bagunchetem barik to so carblo barik by in out. Sign blo barik stop logo blo barik by in out. Igo in a government is set to limbs la landowners association issue past them.
There are few groups in Mosby who have been running, who said all been running this all companies, all entities, Mosby for first 30 years. All is backside long state, Mibla Sabe. And all this line here, also producing rubbish, also talk Yemen, only no bianim, true all law. Only Barabim all this all labun all beneficiaries long Porgera long 30 years. Iguri Yeminusa Kamlo Porgera, middle true on what? Iguri Yeminusa Kamlo Porgera, all this la rap, all this la man, all Sanab Backside Law State now, Mibla clear. Mibla well this la.
While each sub-clans have their own disagreement on how landowners benefited from the 2.5% equity share and 2% royalty over the 30 years, it has caused a division in the sub-clans that make up the directors of the landowner company Porgera Mine Limited. The two most notable brothers who have been in the headlines is former Porgera MP Nixon Mangape and his younger brother Maso Mangape, who is currently the general manager for IPI Group of Companies, a company that came about to participate in the mining boom. Maso, who is also currently the chairman of Porgera Landowners Association.
Last 10 years you work here, you save money loan, you buy kaigana. Why did you use a stable loan? Field break now. Kissing long live here. Last 3 months, that's all you, Maloloya. You were standby. Now relax. So what's Barra give him 20 kina to you? Kumulong minute by giving you 30 kina. Just relax.
There's been no consultation. We understand the government's got the authority here. But the constitutional right that the landowners we have is not been accorded to us to express ourselves.
Meanwhile, in the Porgera Valley, villagers that surround the mine site who were supposed to be resettled in the initial SML questioned when the Marper Stephen government will address them.
So I mean, people are facing big problems right now. Please, government, you take over on the mine. You come talk to people. I really now. People are starting to last more. And to all people, as well people you got need on this law. Please, government, you come here now talk to people. People need him. You come here. Long Porgera na talk. You know, media talk or newspaper talk or land up. Papa Granino style must be. Papa Gran style Porgera.
Prime Minister James Marape stating they will meet with landowners as soon as possible without giving a date and location.
Through MRA and the mining department will now be, and through again Kumula Mineral Holding Limited will in the first instance be send a signal to both the provincial government as well as the landowners. It's a brownfield. We don't have too many not new landowners we'll be dealing with. The existing landowners, 24 claims in the SML are the ones that we'll be engaged with, and most of them informally have been in discussion with every one of us, including myself. And so we will engage with the landowners at the very earliest.
In the valley, many are confused on how landowners were left out in the granting of the SML to Kumul Minerals Holding Limited. Mineral Resource Authority Managing Director Jerry Gary explains how mining amendments passed in June this year allowed for the government to grant the SML to Kumul Minerals Holding Limited without following previous procedures.
The consultation process under Section 3 of the Act has been amended to add a clause in there to say that a state applicant may apply or may conduct consultation after the grant of SML. So under that provision and also other provisions which also waiver a state applicant from mining development contract negotiations, environmental permit and other permits, other agreements, so that once the permit is granted, then thereafter, after the commercial arrangements are in order and the mine recommence, they would like to re-engage on other the permits and other agreements so that the mine could open as swiftly as possible.
The effects of the mine closures being felt most by businesses in Porgera Valley.
When there is no market, how can we do it? So in other years, Ley, again, Mosby and the major centers, they have many opportunities. But in Porgera, we don't have other opportunities. We only have, from the direct or indirect business spin-off from mine.
Porgera Chamber of Commerce also stating that around 300 micro SMEs, along with some 210 mine local contractors, have been affected.
They were just in the start of doing something. Basically, Lugarim Kakaruk, Salim Kakaruk Law Street, Wakim Garden, vegetable, okay, Planim Kumu, and then Salim Lopichi began. So, we got almost 1,000 women who said all is a sublime, or Planim Kumu now also sublime loan. IPI through Porgera Women in Business.
One box 1,000 800 or 600 misaksim. Company na workman stop time cash flow sa stop na store ige na kakarog blum sa pinis hariap. Now company go pinis no at cash flow kakarog mi stopim na lili store ige stop yet.
Gold no gade. Wasn't Tussle kaman mi megerim Tussle.
But while the former way of income is affected, illegal mining still continues.
Was a mine or chim loan, money or erasing loan, mine feet from gold, well, cash flow only put in Beglo Pogradu. So, cash flow and sastab na is a slab and man meris a peg na Plight or MSMEs in terms of street vendors, some go under, but at this time, no, number go on. Because cash flow, we also put in again, the community and go reduce again.
Security in the valley is high, with the state sending in a contingent of police and PNGTF to take care of the mine site as negotiations continue on a national level. The question on when or how much it would cost to open the mine estimated at around $300 million.
Equipment, basically most of them, 30 years old, whether it is a fixed plant or mobile plant. If somebody was to acquire it, you need to do a lot of capital injection to either bring the fixed plant up to speed, up to standard, or you need to actually buy to refleet the aging fleet. Example, the tracking and auxiliary gear plus shovels and everything else. If you acquire all the equipment, you need to actually replace them. The more these ones sit there on the ground, the longer it will take, and some of them will be obsolete. So the faster we get the gear back to work, the better it is. Otherwise, it will cost you more money to do it, and you need to if it is obsolete, then you will have trouble replacing them.
But that's just the operating cost. The social impact cost, if not managed well, expected to be in the millions also.
Whoever the new operator comes, whether it is the state, Kumul, or anybody who comes, the biggest challenge will be to manage people. Now, what has happened was that the landowners have become too clever. So, wherever you point your fingers, they will, build. The houses will mushroom from nowhere. So, it is not just dealing with the genuine landowners who've been living there. Even if you develop your criteria, they're not dealing with people who have been living there, original landowners who are living there, and genuine people. But these others who are just coming in to benefit from the, money rain will be the ones who deal with become more problematic.
Going forward, Kumul Minerals Holding Limited stating they plan to allow the year's worth of mining experience within PNG to make Porgera Mine a successful state-run mine and hopefully expand out to other mines across the globe.
Also said there's a huge talent, a reservoir of talent in Papua New Guinea in the mining industry today. There are literally thousands of Papua New Guineans with outstanding skills and knowledge about mining. But the ability sits here in this country to keep on developing the resources that the country's been blessed with.
How and whether the PNG government can, a question PM says is an offence to the country's national sovereignty.
And people do question state that state have capacity to reopen the mine. Come on, are you questioning the sovereignty of a sovereign state? State resource is endless. State can do anything to get money to reopen Porgera.